Hello, everybody, and welcome to another NintendoFuse Game Chat. Today, we're talking all about Phantom Spark for the Nintendo Switch. So, Phantom Spark is a high speed, exhilarating racing game, but not your typical racing game. Instead of racing against other players, you're more or less racing against your ghosts and NPC ghosts, and it's all about time trials and honing your skills to get better and better. For each of these tracks, there's over 30 tracks and challenges meant to be replayed as you test your skills as you go through the story mode. There's online as well, online leaderboards, and each course has distinct regions, and there's a really interesting story to go along with it. And just to preface this, we were provided codes by Plan of Attack, so thank you very much. But Phantom Spark did come out August 15th of 2024 and was published by Coat Sync Software. So let's start with you, Greg. Greg, what was your experience with Phantom Spark like?
So it was very interesting. I wasn't sure what to expect when I first got the code, but obviously, as you described, it's a very time trial based type game. So then you're pretty much required to beat, or you're not actually required to beat any particular times initially. You could just practice unlimited free play like on the particular race, and then you're able to once you beat the course once, then you're able to immediately go to challenging ghosts and stuff to further upgrade your characters. So I thought that was a very interesting mechanic, the way that you're just kind of just doing like a free race to try to get the hang of it and learning the controls and everything like that. It works. A lot of the graphics did remind me of like F-Zero, like aesthetics, and it's also not like a traditional like race. Like it's just like a at least the courses that I've done have all been like a point to finish type races. So you're not like doing multiple laps and you're not trying to improve times there. It's really just going from one end to the other of the race, and that was very straightforward there. So I did pretty much enjoy the time with the game so far. It's just been kind of fun to just be able to challenge myself to do better on some of the different races, and some of the tracks do get very difficult when you're challenging the ghosts. And then as soon as you beat one ghost, you're then able to challenge a stronger ghost. So like there's continuously pulling in newer challenges for you to conquer along. So um, I don't know how far everybody else got, but I did like one of the basic challenges along with like just going through the first world and did like the first several races or whatever. So I did enjoy my time with the game so far. I don't know what you if you have any things to add there, Steve.
Yeah, so I enjoy F Zero. I like pretty much all the F Zero games. Some of them are better than others, and this, like you said, this game definitely resembles F Zero and that kind of style of guess HyperX stuff like that as well. And so I had high expectations going into it, like thinking this looks good. It's got some good speed, all that stuff. And so I go into the game, and it's a little confusing at the beginning. I'm like, okay, what is this all about? Like you said, Barry, it's the story is kind of interesting, all these different things. And you're like, okay, cool. And what I quickly realized is that, like what you both of you have said, it's not a traditional racer. You're racing against this trainer that is apparently supposed to there to train you to get better, and then you eventually race against your ghosts as well. And so each race within the whole thing is basically you have to go around it twice. You start off by setting your own pace, and then you have to beat it and hopefully beat your trainer as well. And so in the beginning, I was just going all out. I didn't know I was going to have to beat my time again to keep progressing. And so about like I think halfway through the first section, so there's three different trainers that you're going through, and about halfway through the first trainer, I think they said something about remember to stay humble on your first lap or your first try or something like that. And I was like, you know what? That's a good idea, trainer. And from that point on, all I had to do was just cruise on my first time through. And then I was guaranteed to beat it the second time and keep progressing. And what I found out was, and it was pretty easy for me to beat the trainer each time. I think I only needed to, except for like the special, I forget what they're called. There's like some special challenges that you have to do that are separate from the main races. But apart from those, I rarely had to redo it again to beat the trainer. And so I found just taking it really easy, barely even hit the accelerator throughout things, braking all the time, getting a horrible time on the first one. I beat it the second time and I'd keep on moving on. And I got bored like for this game. Like I found out like I don't there was no incentive for me to really go all out except for maybe a desire for me to get the best time possible or the fastest time possible. But I would have preferred other racers on the track, racing other people, traditional racer. It just felt like a really, really long tutorial is essentially what I felt like, because you're just constantly racing against your ghosts and your trainers. And I got bored after it. I finished probably like 2/3 of the game just so I could have a good idea of like what each of the trainers was like. Completed the first one altogether, did about half of the second one, started the third one. But yeah, I kind of got bored.
So there is the online, so there is racing and seeing how you compete with other people online for each course, because each course has its own leaderboard. So there is always that. There's always that drive. I want to be number one in the world on rain and just going hard on this course and trying to be number one. So for players that absolutely go ham and that kind of stuff, this is perfect because there's tons of courses. I also was kind of expecting other racers, and I feel like this engine is perfect. Like the controls are a dream. Like this plays like you would expect a Wipeout, an F-Zero, an Extreme G to play, like a fast racing style game. It works perfectly in that regards, and it's fun. It's floaty. You go over jumps and you can move around. If you do hit anything, you die and you have to restart. So keep that in mind. It's not on rails at all. You have the freedom to move and just. I would love to see this developer go on to a traditional F-Zero style racing game using this engine. I think it would be fantastic. That being said, I found there's a certain charm to this because it's a little different. And you don't have to beat the trainer. Like you can actually I think you could just do a course and just move on. Like I always went back and beat the trainer, and sometimes that did take me a couple tries. Like and what I like is seeing the trainer's ghost and seeing your previous ghost, you can see where you can shave off and go, "Oh, they're so much farther ahead of me." Oh, and then you start catching up and you're like, "Oh, I'm figuring this out." And I like that. I do wish there was a little more to the story. It is intriguing, and maybe there is afterwards. So when you finish a whole world, you do actually get to race the champion circuit, which is like significantly longer. Like some of these courses are only 30 seconds, 40 seconds, and then the champion circuit's like 2 minutes. Like it's a really long gauntlet in it. I like that. I like that it trains you up, and then each one gets significantly harder as you go through. It would be nice again if it was a little more traditional, but for what's there, it plays fantastic. And if you like time trial stuff, you couldn't ask for a better game in that regards. I think this absolutely delivers with plenty of stuff, and I didn't even do all the side trials because those side trials are pretty challenging. And again, they're completely optional. They're there. It's extra content. I'm glad they're optional, but they do get really challenging.
Yeah, I mean, I do also kind of agree with Steve. It was just getting kind of monotonous after a while because unless you're really driven to like really like harping down and beat your times, it can get kind of like it's better for like smaller bursts and segments and stuff. And I did tackle that first trial, and it easily took me like more than like 20 tries, and it was very difficult beating that first ghost. And that was like they pretty much threw the expert on one on there, and then as soon as that there was like a tier 2 one, I'm like, oh no, thank you, I don't even want to try to see that one. So it was like
It's
I
tough.
don't I don't even have like I barely had the hampering to get like the controls down like the way they did it the first go around, because I felt like I was doing the exact same thing when I managed was like to be slower or like slightly faster, but not fast enough. And it was always very interesting just to keep going at it. I did like that the challenge was super short, so then like you were able to easily restart, and then even the game understands if you have like no chance of winning. It even says like, oh, press Y and you can instantly restart, and then like boom, like you're already right back at the starting line, and like you just have to hit the gas, and then like it triggers the countdown to start the race. So it's I do really appreciate that kind of control mechanic, because trying to retry stuff has always been issues in other games, and this one, it makes it very simple to easily restart a race. And it's not even like if you're not even like ready, then like it doesn't start the race until you hit like the gas. So that was I really do appreciate that mechanic where it's not just immediately just, okay, here's the next stoplight, 3, 2, 1, boom, go. Like it's actually like, okay, are you actually like ready? And then like you tell the game you're ready to go. So
Mhm.
um, I did really appreciate that function in all the different races as well too. So um, yeah, I unlocked some of the skins and stuff, and there's other things you can do for like leveling up your character for based on other things there. We didn't really discuss on that. I don't think there's any performance stuff that comes from that. I think it's just purely aesthetic based. You can change the colors of the car and the racer and stuff. So yeah, overall, I thought it was a pretty decent experience, but I don't not really much of like a time trial seeking racer, and I usually prefer to race against either other players or even just CPU characters. But
Mhm.
um, as Barry said, what's there is really good, especially if you are a time trial seeking, like fast thrill seeker.
That's true. Yeah, I think like I completely agree with you. Like on the basic premise, like the building blocks that they have is fantastic. Like it's a really solid control, all this stuff. Like even those challenges, like they're basically teaching you how to shave mere milliseconds off your time by cutting like as you take a it's the trick, even that first one is to slightly go left and then curve it right as fast as you can, hitting like ever so slightly, tapping off the gas, and then hammering it again, and basically trimming with that much room between you and the wall in order to cut the time off, and eventually you're able to beat it. And it's really that was especially after going through it like 20 times to try to beat this trainer in this, like it felt very rewarding to like, yes, I finally got it. But then to always get it every time, to trim it off in every single race you do, I'm like, you've really got to dedicate a lot of time and effort to being like the best you want to be in this game. And I don't really want to do that. It's fun to do in a couple of races, but that's about it. And so, like, my style of these kind of games are to I prefer let me race against other people. I get more enjoyment out of coming first out of a group of people in a race rather than doing time trials and ghost races and things like that. Like I can progress through this game fairly easily. It's just time because I have to race everything twice. But to progress through everything, it's not that difficult. It's not that rewarding, really. Like you said, Greg, everything is just aesthetic upgrades, and so I can't even upgrade my car, my ship, whatever sort of thing. And so all those different things, I just don't feel like there's enough incentive there for me to keep playing the game. What is there is fun and it's really solid. But for me and my style, I don't get enough incentive to keep on going.
Yeah, I could agree with that. I wish there was upgrades to your actual racer because that would be an incentive. Like, oh, let me because every time you beat your score, you get like these spark points that go up in the top right corner, and you level up, and they unlock different things, and it's all cosmetic. If you could do that and actually improve your racer, like that would be a huge incentive because then it'd be like, all right, now I can. If I couldn't beat a child before, let me go beyond it and then come back as I'm stronger. So I do wish they added that. I wonder if they just kind of kept it level for the online leaderboard, so everybody's on an even playing field, as opposed to, well, the first person in first place is a maxed out car,
Sure.
and there's no way me starting the game I'll ever touch his time. So I don't know if that was the reasons, but anyway, the game Phantom Spark is available right now on the Switch. It is 19.99 digital only. Again, Code Sync software put it out. We'll go to you, Greg, first. Do you recommend it 19.99? Do you say wait for a sale, or would you say pass entirely?
So this is like a very difficult for me to put here. So I would say if you are the time trial racer, like this, I would absolutely say yes, it's absolutely perfect. But if you're looking for more transitional like racing style game, then you probably would rather prefer to have it like a on some sort of sale. I mean, what is there is good and the controls are tight and everything there, but I don't necessarily think like if I knowing myself as not as a time trial racer, that's where I would feel better putting it on like a some type of discount and not like the full asking price. But obviously, for sure, if you do enjoy the time trial runs, then there's a great base here, and you can have a lot of fun with it if that's the kind of game that you're looking for.
Yeah, I completely agree with you, Greg. I think there's that caveat. If you time trials, ghost races, being the top of the online leaderboards is your thing, then this could be really fun for you. But if that's not your thing, then I'd say steer clear or at least wait for a discount, because you're going to $20. You could spend it on another racer that you're going to really enjoy. But yeah, if you want to give it a shot, maybe wait for a discount. But yeah, if you're a traditional racing kind of fan, you want an F-Zero kind of experience, probably steer clear.
I'm going to echo that as well. If you are a time trial nut, if you love to be top of the leaderboard, then this is a great game, especially if you enjoy the F-Zero style fast racing. If you are looking for more traditional, then you're not going to find that here. This is a very different experience. And if all of this still sounds intriguing, not selling you on it, then absolutely wait for a sale. But if this sounds up your alley, then I think for $20 you're getting enough content. You know, the gameplay is fantastic. The controls are great. You know, it just the graphics are beautiful. Like it runs great. The frame rate is perfect. Like I had no slowdown, no stutter. So I would recommend that in that regards. But again, I do want to thank Plan of Attack for providing us review codes. And again, this is available right now on the Switch for $20. And if you enjoy game chats like these, as well as other Nintendo content like our podcast and interviews, please go to nintendofuse.com and subscribe to us here on YouTube. Greg, Steve, thank you so much for joining me today, and we'll catch you all next time.